Okay, so it was a moving pieces around episode.
Kind of. I would give it a little more than that.
You would? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you seem to have an angle, so. Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristin.
And this is So I'm Watching Teen Wolf, Season 4, Episode 8.
Time of Death.
Obviously, I watched the episode. There's footage of me watching it, but it was not really resonating fully with me. They're trying to lure out the Benefactor.
Yeah.
And so they came up with this plan that they were going to fake Scott's death with Kira's mother's help. Because magic.
Something about the powers and being able to, like, put him into some sort of...
They've done that a handful of times. It was one of many fake outs in which Melissa Ponzio got to display her acting talent.
Okay.
Oh, right.
And in the salmon scrubs, too. Poor Melissa.
Insult to injury. She's acting, though.
Yeah, she's doing amazing.
You guys totally sure about this?
I mean...
Oh, like,
Melissa.
in the show. Be nice, because Melissa Ponzio's...
Oh, no, she's doing amazing!
Acting talent is amazing. Melissa McCall's acting talent is amazing. She's doing amazing. She's playing 3D chess.
He's faking dead, and it can last for 45 minutes because they're waiting for the Benefactor to, like, show up and collect the body.
Well,
because they didn't send visual proof.
Yeah, 45 minutes is as long as Scott can stay under.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he had a repeating dream of him inadvertently killing Liam.
Well, it was like he watched Liam die, and then it was like the mute like made him be the one that kills Liam.
Mm-hmm.
That part I don't.
Well, it has to do with the fact that, because I kind of always forget this part, and I don't know that we've even said it on our coverage, but it's because I think Derek feels like an afterthought, but he's losing his power.
Yeah.
Whatever Kate did to him, he's like regressing.
Yeah. So his eyes are yellow. He's not healing.
But he couldn't even turn his eyes on.
He's not super strong anymore.
He had a really great scene with Brayden.
He only had scenes with Brayden.
They have good chemistry.
Yeah.
I don't know that they like rediscovered or reinvented the wheel, but
they absolutely did not.
I do like them.
Yeah.
And I can't go further into it, but I remember liking what we were setting up. I liked her, like, teaching him how to use a gun.
Yeah.
This is a 6-hour P2 26 9mm.
I don't like guns.
That's because you never learned to use one.
Or because I've been shot.
You'll like this one.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Sexy Cinemax shooting time.
So, yeah.
Wanna try again?
Mm-hmm. One more time.
I can do this all day.
Again, it's the middle of the night. I do like watching him be humbled.
You cheated.
Learning to bend.
And I guess because guns are such a topical thing for obvious reasons, and I was kind of raised with them, that I like whenever people actually, like when shows actually talk about them and demonstrate them as like a weapon or a tool, like from a technical stance.
Well, and this show has done that the whole time because the Argents
are hunters.
Sell weapons. Like that's their cover, is that they are like armorers.
And so I found that interesting. But yeah, I guess the implication is that since Derek's powers are waning, when one Supreme falls, a new Supreme rises.
Oh. And that's Scott?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. And so it's like...
He's just been the alpha so much longer than...
No, I know, but Derek was always a mentor, and Peter was genetically his alpha. Peter turned him.
Sure.
And so I think with whatever's going on with them, it's like he now has to learn how to balance. Because remember, Peter turned into that full-fledged monster?
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like, I think that's sort of what Scott was trying to reckon with, was how much of the power do I embrace and what effect will it have on those around me?
Sure.
So the more I talk about it, I'm like, actually, this is a pretty good episode.
You did, though, stumble on a pretty big plot hole, which is, why can't they just take a picture of Scott? I think my reasoning is
Dead
sound.
Scott?
I think my reasoning is sound, which is that he doesn't have any obvious wounds, so they could. I don't believe the Benefactor
One
would
of the
take
phones
it.
they're hawking has an app that could Photoshop.
Well, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't think the Benefactor would take a picture of just, like, cold, dead-looking Scott
Mhm.
as, like, proof. So they're trying to get the Benefactor to come into the hospital to, like, witness Scott so they can catch the Benefactor.
Mhm. Which is where Scott stumbles upon. It's just so arbitrary. I don't mind one or two.
Yeah, but it's
but
like
I feel
a
like we're
lot.
getting a lot this season where he's like,
Think about it. Who has the power to know when someone's dead but doesn't need to see the body to know what happened?
A banshee.
Okay, I love that too, but the big plot hole there is that then the Benefactor would have wired Chris the money if they could just sense that Scott was dead.
but he wasn't.
Oh, okay. I see what
Yeah.
you're saying. Okay.
I give the show so much credit for the things like Banshee was not obvious.
It
Like,
was out of the box, yeah.
And Kanema and Kitsune and like they really, even Berserkers, it's like they really went for things, but I do also feel like they limit themselves to these things.
Yeah.
Where it's like, in this reality, a Banshee is like the only supernatural creature that has some kind of jurisdiction over death. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I just don't. I would just imagine the supernatural world being so much vaster
Mhm.
that I wouldn't be able to so confidently be like, it
Yeah.
must be a Banshee. Yeah, it's fine.
Well, Malia and Peter met up in the Hale Vault. That birth certificate is nothing because it's covered in blood and ripped at the part where it says who the birth
Mhm.
parents are. So, like, it was sort of sweet and cute and then sad. The episode opens with Styles having a dream that he and Malia can't sleep.
That was actually very good.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're feeling frustration from me, I think this is it, because that was such a good opening.
Yeah.
Because when it started, I thought, oh, this is another dream fake out. But then it kept going so much that I forgot.
Yeah.
And then by the time the reveal that it is another dream fake out, and based on Dylan and Shelley's performances, I actually was engaged and riveted.
It's really good because basically it's like he is dreaming of like a time before when when she first started making him be the little spoon, and then he wakes up and she's gone because she's still pissed at him. So she goes looking for Peter. They have a really circular talk, which is the only kind Peter knows how to have. And then he mentions that like he can help her find her birth mother. They call her the Desert Wolf. And so she's like, okay, cool. And then she's back in Styles' room at the end of the episode. And she tells a story about, I don't love this because it gets to that place where it smacks of like the worst parts of Katniss Everdeen and like Harry Potter, where I'm just sort of like, she's taking too much guilt on board about having like caused the deaths of her family because it was completely outside of her control. She had no way to control her shift. At that point, she had no idea she was adopted. And so she just is like, I had a fight with my mom and I said, I wish you were all dead. And then they all died. And it's like, you're not a witch. That's just an unfortunate coincidence that happened. And so she doesn't, from what I remember, I don't think Malia like stays in that place, but that is one of the things that's very frustrating to me about stuff like this. And to a lesser extent, because I'm with you about loving the nobility of Scott, but his whole like, we don't kill people. And I'm like, sometimes you have to kill people. And, you know, it's like, I like that you're a good man, but like sometimes you have to kill people and you can't stand on this righteous stone forever or you're gonna wind up all alone because someone else killed everyone else while you were being righteous.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very frustrating to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so similarly with the Malia thing, I'm like, why are you like wasting so much time on this insane guilt? especially like you said, where like so much of her personality up to this point has been very pragmatic
and animal instinct
and animal, like pragmatic to the point of like, all I can think of is neglect, but like, yeah, recklessness and like not giving a shit about other people's feelings.
And I would almost appreciate if she was overcorrecting, like if she was choosing to be pedantic or to be like human, and that was. But then that was causing a struggle.
But then I would want at some point for her to like come out of it and be like, "That was exhausting. I can't do that anymore."
I think the problem is that the plot at this point, the plot has the reins.
It's also still so
and
murky.
It's dictating so much of what's happening. Because again, I feel like that Sunspot or whatever, that reference that I bring up all the time, that short film that they did like 10 years ago, TLDR.
Thomas Middleditch,
yeah. It was like a art project where actual AI wrote a script and it was nonsense, and the human actors had to find a way to interpret it to make it work, and they actually ended up making something kind of fascinating. And so I feel similarly where it's like there's actually a lot of good work happening on the show, period, hard stop. But even now where it's like having Chris and Kate see each other again, interact, and having her actually back down was really good, interesting work. It feels somewhat anticlimactic given what actually was accomplished.
You're not going to kill me.
And I'm not going to let you take his body. We have a plan.
And if killing Scott was part of it, you're worse than me.
He's telling the truth. We're trying to get to the Benefactor.
That's why I'm here.
Then back off and let us do what we planned. Take the Berserkers and go. We have a plan.
Yeah, also, I'm still very dicey on what her motivations are.
Well, she made that deal with Peter when we left off.
Yeah.
Where he but I don't fully remember. He's trying to, am I forgetting or?
I'm forgetting.
Yeah, I don't remember. Peter offers to teach Kate how to control her shift.
Oh, yeah, that's all she's doing. But I still don't remember why she has the Berserkers. Just like do her dirty work for her.
I also don't remember if they ever do say in this reality, are the Berserkers human?
I think they were human warriors that like let it overtake them
and are now supernatural. Okay,
yeah. It's like Skarsgård in
oh, I remember
the Northman,
but in that they were just humans that they were furries.
They were kind of furry.
Yeah. So Kate did crash the party. The Berserkers. You're right, Kira and Liam.
Okay, but it's not just Kira and Liam. But like Kira it's a lot flashier because she has the katana.
The sword.
So it's like she's very like doing a ton of moves like to get to the Berserker, and then she's slashing at them. And I'm like, it has an exoskeleton of bones. You're not going to get through that with your sword. That has not at any point been proven to be sharper than a normal sword. The issue for me there is that, like, for multiple episodes in a row now, either one or more wolves and Kira have gone at the Berserkers the exact same way and failed, and they have not decided that trying something new might be a good idea.
Liam, run! Get out of here!
You should both run. It's clearly not working.
Liam!
Yeah.
It's a little weird and frustrating.
And so anyways, Melissa and Nishiko were in cahoots throughout the episode, and it ended with them being attacked by one of the Berserkers, and Nishiko was injured and helicoptered to Palo Alto? Palo, somewhere.
Yeah. Norther.
Yeah. And all of this is sort of happening simultaneously with Lydia still doing her banshee sleuthing in the lake house. Her mother followed her there because she was concerned. Another good performance from Susan Walter, making the material work, making confounding material. That makes sense.
These are your grandmother's ashes.
In the boathouse, where she liked to...
Grandma died in Aiken House. Why would she want her ashes in here?
She left instructions to have them spread across the lake.
How come you haven't done it?
Because she wanted you to do it. I suppose now is as good a time as any.
don't think Lydia was looking for this kind of emotional upheaval right now.
She gives Lydia the urn, and Lydia immediately identifies that it is mountain ash and throws down.
And the whole boathouse is made of mountain ash.
And throws down the barrier. And then
to which Natalie has no comment.
No questions. No.
The whole building. It's all made of mountain ash.
Teen Mom, I'm trying so hard.
Well, the other thing too, so it kind of reminds me of the whole oh god, what was her name? Allison's mom. Victoria. It kind of goes to that because it's like she specifically said it was Lydia's father's mother who died and that was her ashes. But it's like, so Natalie just like married into this family and then was like, everything seems normal here. Moving along.
Well, I'm being precious. I'm trying to decide when I want to make certain points because I have a point about Natalie Martin that I want to make, and I don't think now's the time.
Yeah.
But
I don't think the part has happened that you want to.
No, but the mountain ash would would explain away why she didn't acknowledge it because it was similar with Raphael when he got stabbed by the Oni. But that again, they were able to just be like, oh, well, it was dark. I don't know, and I don't hate that.
There's just roving samurai and
Yakuza.
The Yakuza just wandering around, roaming around Beacon Hills.
And I don't hate that. It's one of my favorite places is where Teen Wolf is silly or makes these leaps in logic. Yeah. But I think I'm just going to keep uttering this refrain that the balance is off.
Sure.
It's being too serious in some places, and it's expecting too much of us in others. And we did get that Natalie knew Meredith, or knew of her at least. Cause so much
she called her by name.
Meredith Walker by a not very good picture of her.
No, it's a pretty grainy, it's blown out.
And again, it was treated all very eerily. It feels like the show is trying to make us think that Lydia's grandmother has something to do with this.
And then Natalie was like, this is the last thing your grandmother ever wrote. It's just gibberish. And Lydia was like, it's code. And it's the same series of things.
Yeah, that was largely what happened in that episode.
They brought back Scott. Kira is going away to stay with her mother since she's still in the dead pool.
It ended with Scott making that leap about the Banshees. So, about how maybe the Benefactor didn't take the bait because it magically knew I wasn't dead.
Sure.
And it was giving me the because it's giving me. We talk a lot about Bryce Peterson and his recaps in this, and this was giving me one of our other favorites, Lily Sparks, with her Once Upon a Time recaps, where she would frequently say, in a show that a plan makes sense when all the characters have to keep telling each other that it makes sense. And so there was 2 or 3 points in this episode where they were like, this was a good plan, or this was a really good idea.
And we just have to be like, was it?
Sure. So Derek and Braden banged. It was nice.
Kiss me hard before you go. Summertime sadness.
This is the first season that he's not shaving his chest, and he has a very unique, it's like a Batman sigil. It's all right here.
Yeah.
And it actually kind of, and that's appreciated. So, yeah, I mean, again, I love the show. We're still having fun. We're trying to not be bummers, but this is not our favorite stretch of episodes. So, this is what we've got to work with. So, okay, we'll be back.
Bye.